it's the next level.
He hasn't stopped playing her since we got back from Snowpiercer.
Snowpiercer. That was the only best day of my life.
He has lost his mind. Do you see what he has us reading?
I know. Miss Audrey was so dazzling. He's pining for her. His great love.
Welcome back to the show, panelers. I'm Steve.
And I'm Daphne.
And this is a spoiler-full podcast of Snowpiercer Season 2, Episode 5, Keep Hope Alive. And I think somebody actually said that during the episode, which I should have noted. But the synopsis for this episode is Leighton and Miss Audrey make a risky play for Big Alice, but Wilford has his own plan.
Ooh.
I don't know who's writing these IMDb synopsis, but these are good. These Snowpiercer ones are really good. They don't give too much away. They give you the story, and that's really all you need. So I'm starting to appreciate these even more. I think I've said that several times with Mark. But tell me, Daphne, what were your initial thoughts for Keep Hope Alive?
Well, I feel like this episode gave us a little bit more of kind of the yin and yang, or the flip side of each Snowpiercer and Big Alice.
Mm-hmm.
We see Snowpiercer, and you see Leighton's building this big... He's trying to build hope amongst people. He's trying to give them something to look forward to, and we see that multiple times in this episode. Whereas if you go over on Big Alice, I feel like Wilford is leading more of an iron-fisted, do your job, no questions asked, fear-motivated leadership. And so I feel like we're getting that two different sides of a leadership strategy. I would not want to be on Big Alice, living under that, that dictator,
Yeah, because it's no, the thing is, the problem I think we have with Big Alice is we haven't seen enough of the day-to-day outside of these 5 people.
Mm-hmm.
Like we've just basically seen the people who went over to Snowpiercer in the last episode. Those are really the only that we've kind of seen what their life is like. We haven't, but we get enough of it that you're right. I mean, it's basically it's like you wake up, you eat your gruel, you do your job, whatever your menial job is, unless you're a Headwood doctor, unless you're one of those guys, you get up, you eat your gruel, you do your job, then you eat more gruel, and then you go to bed.
In a bunk.
You get the next,
yeah.
In like a bunk that's maybe a little bit bigger than like what you would have on like a Navy ship or a submarine or something like that. And yeah, so we haven't seen the class system really on Big Alice that we have on Snowpiercer, and that they're trying to break down on Snowpiercer, but they're not doing it very well, so we haven't really seen if there's anybody like in a first class kind of position besides Wilford. And we see Wilford, in his, yeah.
I was just going to say, Wilford is definitely above first class. He gets what he wants when he wants it. He's got the finest clothes, the finest food. Alex, I feel like, gets to partake in some of that. But for the most part, it's kind of... He's got that huge car, and he's just by himself in there.
And even Alex just comes in when it's time to do her job, do her shift of driving the train. So, yeah, that's interesting. It is very different. For me, another episode without Melanie, and I was not happy. And, and she's not even listed in the credits this time. Like I looked for it. Like I was it went right from Daveed Diggs to Mickey Summer, who's the one who plays Till. And I was like, wait a minute, they
Oh,
didn't even list
goodness.
Jennifer Connelly. Like I backed it up and I was like, I didn't even, man. So I really hope we're going to get her back very soon. And we're going to get to see, I hope we don't go this whole season without seeing her. You know, I hope these last, whatever it is, we got about, I think it's a 10 episode.
So we're halfway through, Steve. This is the halfway point.
If we have to go until the end without seeing Melanie, I'm going to be very disappointed in the storytelling, or they better make up for it with story, I guess, you know.
She has always been such a force to be reckoned with.
Mm-hmm.
All of that time that she spent keeping people thinking that Wilfred was alive, I mean, that took a lot of effort and energy, and she really kept things going without really getting wound up.
Mm-hmm.
She was always like this even-keeled leader on Snowpiercer, and she kept things in order, and I feel like without her, I think I mentioned it last week, I just feel like Wilfred's waited for her to leave so he can start messing with things. Exactly.
And that's what we get in this episode. Really, we were talking about it before we started recording, that there's a lot in this episode that happens. This is a big episode. It's there's no doubt that it's the middle of the season because this is huge. And again, but no Melanie. It just was not, I was not happy with that. So.
I feel like we got a lot of little parts and pieces, and we're starting to put this big puzzle together. And I'm really interested to see where it goes. There's a lot of potential. And like you, I really hope that we don't have to wait to the last episode to get Melanie back.
Yeah, I hope not.
But it sounds like they're going to go back to pick her up. They're going to be turning around to go back and pick her up. Yeah, and
it's only like 3 days. So I hope they don't drag out 3 days over several episodes. You know, I hope like maybe the next episode we have, the next episode we got to get the aftermath of, we got to get into our top 5. There's so much.
You know, Steve, I feel like we could talk about all these little things all day long, and the episode to be about 6 hours long.
Exactly. So let's get this pun intended train back on the track. And as I do every week, because I am a gentleman, you may go first.
Okay. Well, my number 5, I'm calling Bye Bye Breachman. And my question is, why would Wilfred take them out? Because they are loyal to him. Does he not know they're loyal to him? Did he take them out because they're the toughest on Snowpiercer and he's afraid, they might be against me, so I need to take them out? Or does he think, they wouldn't expect me to take them out, so I'm going to take them out to show how powerful I am? And then the Headwoods and their little conversation that Josie overhears talking about the Breachman. But it's it's really cryptic.
It's very cryptic. Yeah, I actually had that in my notes because it is when I watched it the first time, and then we see the aftermath, we go, they're talking about that the Breachmen were going to do something. But when I watched it the second time, I realized they're really talking around just the fact that the Breachmen, something's happening, maybe, I don't know. That's why I'm confused. This whole, and it's just.
I went back and I actually slowed it down and I went through what they actually said.
Okay.
And so the conversation went like this. Wilfred pushes and pushes and he won't lose. It's starting tonight. The Breachmen, he's using them so early. So I assumed using them at that time meant he was going to take them and they were going to be taking control of things. But that word using.
Yeah. So here's my take. Because grammatically, the pronoun them should apply to the Breachman if you're following grammar, proper grammar.
Yes.
But what if it doesn't? What if the Breachman was just a statement? And then the next sentence, they're using them so early is the other, the hooded.
Right, people, that we've never even heard of.
That we don't even know who they are. It's his other. And maybe maybe this is a play. I don't. Again, it's one of those things because see, the breachmen are kind of like the firemen, right?
Yes.
Like they're the ones that when that car in season 1 got smashed and the snow was going in, they were the ones that suited up and had to go in there to repair that car so that the train could keep going.
Yes.
Without and so losing them is a pretty big deal.
It is.
To Snowpiercer. And Wilford then use that as a chip and show that Leighton is losing his control? I don't know, because unless, like you said, maybe Wilford didn't know they were loyal to him. And then there's Boki, who survived.
Only because he was being questioned by Leighton.
Exactly. Yeah, Leighton and Roach, they're coming up the hallway just as that hooded figure is about to go in there to take Boki out, and whoever it is leaves. So
when I was watching it, I didn't realize like how significant that was until they went in and we saw all the others dying.
Exactly. It wasn't until my second watch that I realized, oh, that's what was going on there. Because you see that guy walk out just as Leighton and Roach are walking in. So I was like, oh, okay, now I get it. But yeah, this is a very confusing, and this was actually my number one now that I look back at my notes. So let me see if there's anything else that I haven't. I did think it was kind of cool that I think Leighton called where they work out or where they were living Muscle Breach.
Yeah, that was kind of funny. I liked that as well.
But yeah, and who, this is the other question, because at the very beginning of the episode, the hospitality person tells Wilford that our friend up train lit the lantern.
Yes.
Whatever that means.
Who is the friend up train and what is the lantern? Like, what lantern? Right.
And how was she able to see it? Was it when the door opened? Was it, because it's so many things that are just like,
we have to figure them out. And the last thing that the doctor's Headwood said was, we could lose some good subjects too soon. And so with that, I was thinking, was he thinking that because the Breachmen are bigger, he wanted more Icy Bobs? I don't know.
Interesting.
Because
so if they knew the target was the Breachmen and that it wasn't the Breachmen doing the targeting,
yes,
then that statement would make sense, because they're going to lose their test subjects. But it also means that Wilford let them in on the plan. Because I had another thought about that. I wondered if there was some misdirection going on in that conversation, that Wilford trying to draw the spy out. Like he's going to figure out that Josie is the spy because she sent the note about the Breachmen. So maybe the conversation was meant to make her think the Breachmen were going to do something. And then that doesn't happen, but yet that's what Leighton thinks. And then my head's going to explode.
I know. It's so hard to try to figure it out. And there's so much that happened in this episode, and it's all these little pieces. And I know some people, when they're watching TV, they're not super excited about things in an episode where a lot of little things happen, but it doesn't seem like things are moving forward. Although I think we got a lot in this episode.
We got a whole bunch that did move things forward, and I thought, it's one of those things that I think it's like our generation, we're getting the best of both worlds. We know what binging is, but we also remember what it was like to have to wait a week in between, and so there's this whole thing of on one hand, I'm really excited. I wish I want to see the next episode now, but there's also that same anticipation that I remember having, when I was younger, when you had to wait a week for the next show, or sometimes you had to wait months depending on hiatuses and seasons ending and stuff. So
it's a lot of build up.
It's exciting.
A lot of build up, and I like that about episodic TV. when you're building
Yes.
up to that every week.
Absolutely.
So what was your number 5?
So my number 5 is just intelligent Icy Bob.
Oh.
What the heck? Like the first time I heard someone speaking to Josie, I was like, who is talking to her? I said, the only person.
Yep.
And I'm like, and he's not like talking even like that he has a disability. He's talking very clearly, very concise sentences. He's very calm. He explains to her how to calm her panic attack down. He's like, look at 5 things in the room. And was he holding the same book that book club was reading? Was it Rebecca?
I'm not sure about that. But I can tell you that what he was telling Josie to do is actually legitimate panic attack protocol. It's something you can do to calm yourself down. Usually it's look for 5 things you can touch, 5 things you can see. I can't remember the exact order, but it is legitimate.
Right.
It is legitimate what he was talking about.
Cool. Well, that's and so Icy Bob. So then he takes the pain pills from her. I'm not exactly sure why he did that, but he also was very like, don't tell the Headwoods about me. And so it's almost like they don't know that he has this clarity. They don't realize that he actually is this intelligent, he's not brain damaged or whatever they expect. I don't know. It just blew my mind every time he came into a scene. I was like going, this is not at all what we expected of this character when we saw him attacking people in the train. This isn't when we saw the head was experimenting on him and Wilford, just watching him suffer and saying, keep him in there longer. To hear this guy with this, very clear voice, obviously a very clear head, and he's reading, whether that's the same book or not, he's reading something, so I was just blown away. So
I have to agree. And now it makes me question his loyalty to Wilford, because I think he's coherent when all of this is going on. And I think he knows that Wilford's putting him through this torture. So it does make me wonder if his bonding with Josie might help down the road when something big happens.
Yeah. And is that going to change things if there is some sort of plan for him to go out and get Melanie, is that going to change things if he realizes that he can show up or outdo Mr. Wilford?
I know. Yeah. I'm really excited about that, because I feel like the pieces, it's like I said about the puzzle. And you get those puzzles where the pieces can go in multiple places, or at least you think they can. So I'm starting to wonder if maybe this is one of those pieces that I thought was going to go over here in the Wilford pile, and now it could actually help Snowpiercer. So now I'm just kind of like, okay, where does it go? Where will it end up? It's like a puzzle. It's like a chessboard. It's like checkers. It's crazy. Some of the stuff that's going on, and trying to keep it all straight is really hard sometimes. I feel like I need a whiteboard out so that I can...
Yeah, exactly. We need a Venn diagram.
And start connecting everything to try to figure it out, because I'm just so curious about where they're going and who the mole is, what's happening. Yeah. Is it someone we know? Exactly. Is it someone we don't know?
Exactly. Yeah.
So, yeah, it's exciting.
All right. So what is your next point?
Well, my next point, number 4, is the new power couple. And to me, that is Ruth and Zara. First of all, I think Zara has a lot of control on this train. And I'll get to more of that later. But she and Ruth seem to they're becoming BFFs. And Zara, I think, is proving to Ruth that she's trustworthy and that she can be counted on. I mean, one minute she's throwing up in a wastebasket, and the next minute she's on there with this very cool, calm voice talking about doing the announcements. Yeah,
The grace under pressure was really great.
Yeah. So I really, really enjoyed watching their relationship advance. But still, I'm wondering, Zara she's got a lot of control, and that worries me and makes me excited at the same time. I'm just not sure how I feel about it.
And I had forgotten about her relationship with Miss Audrey from season one. That they were so close, because then at the beginning she's having this very personal conversation with Miss Audrey before she goes over to Big Alice, and you can see that Zara she's really good at talking to people and getting people to talk.
Mm-hmm.
Like Ruth says, walk with me through hospitality. And she's like, well, what are we going to do? And Ruth's like, well, I've got to compose my lie or something like that I thought was great. And I'm going to talk some more about Allison Wright later, because she's like one of my points every week, it seems. But I just absolutely loved there was so much in this that we could.
I know this could be a 4-hour podcast, but we're not going to let it be.
We're not. I had a note about Zara and Ruth. Let me see if oh no, that's just the same thing we were talking about. Just that but still being able to get through the address.
Yeah. So what's your number 4?
So my next one is just the whole plan with Miss Audrey. It took me the second watch to understand what was going on. That, Ben or Javi, whichever one it was, shows her the little communication box and says that the one in Wilford's engine, which is also his luxury apartment thing, has a flaw that they fixed in Snowpiercer. And he very quickly, one time through, shows her how to open the box, gives her this tool, shows her what wires to switch, and then that's it. And I'm like, wait a minute. That wasn't super complicated, but that was a little bit more complicated than just, do it. They should have given her a few more tries to find out how long it was going to take her. So she knew, because she tried to do it when he was going to go pour drinks, and so I started to wonder if one of the reasons she stays behind is not because she is back in his clutches, but because she wants a chance to do that wiring job.
I think you could be right. I think we got a lot of Miss Audrey this week. I'm very concerned for her.
I am. I'm concerned because, Wilford saw that screw, that it was loose, and he kind of fiddles with it before he goes after her. So I don't know, if he finds that tool, or if he catches her doing it, or if maybe he already knows about the flaw and he's fixed it in Big Alice.
Yeah. I don't know.
There's a whole lot of things to this that we're just going to have to wait and see. And I'm excited to see where it goes, but I'm hoping really that my intuition holds true, that she didn't just stay because of him, but she stayed because she wants to try to fulfill her mission.
I hope you're right. I feel like Lena Hall has really, I enjoyed her so much last year as Miss Audrey. And this year, I feel like she's getting an opportunity to do even more. And so I'm excited about that. She and Wilford have this weird relationship where I feel like he's obsessed with her, and she's addicted to him like he's a drug. And so even though I know she's being as strong as she can be, and she's really trying to keep herself under control, I just worry that she's gonna relapse. Because there's more to that relationship than we've seen. And what we have seen is very weird.
Exactly. So yeah, for sure. And, she spent all that time trying to get out of it. And so we've just got to see if she's managed to gather enough strength to stay out of it.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm afraid the longer she's away from everyone on Snowpiercer, the more susceptible she's going to be to him.
Yep.
He's very persuasive.
He is. Maybe Alex can kind of ground her. I thought that was an interesting conversation between her, where she said that I'm friends with your mom, and Alex is like, well, she's the enemy, kind of thing. I thought that was interesting.
And she says, I'm neutral. And I'm just thinking,
I'm neutral.
You're Switzerland.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what I think.
Exactly. I love it. So what is your next point?
My number 3 is Josie as the informant. One thing I just don't understand how she was able to stay awake without that medication during that procedure, which looked absolutely beyond painful. And towards the end, when she was talking herself through things, she just kept saying blood, blood, blood.
Mm-hmm. And then she gets up and she's able to walk right after it.
I know.
You know, I mean, it just, I don't know if that's an inconsistency in the writing or if she's just that, the character is just that tough.
I think she's super tough.
You know?
I really think that she is. And I appreciated, though, Icy Bob giving her advice, like telling her not to trust the Headwoods.
Yeah. And that's where, that was when I got the idea about the possible misdirection of the conversation, that maybe it was more to try to draw out who the spy is. But then as I got to thinking more and more about that, I started to think it's like she would be the obvious spy, right? Like she should be the obvious spy. And then like even Terrence figures it out, and we'll talk some more about Terrence and Pike, but even Terrence figures it out because Leighton makes one classic mistake that Leighton makes is he uses the same courier too many times. You know, and you can see that he kind of changed it up later because he uses a different courier to get that last message to him, you know, but still I'm with you. Josie as the informant
she's so tough.
Almost.
I was like squirming watching what they were doing. I'm just not sure what they're doing. It feels like they're pulling more skin off her. And are they going to replace it? I don't know.
I couldn't get, they were spraying it with that stuff. And I don't know if that stuff regrows the skin or if it's like a you know, like we have liquid bandage. Yeah. You know, maybe it's kind of like a liquid bandage kind of thing that'll just kind of fall off when the skin grows back. I don't know. But it's definitely working because her face is a lot better.
And she's getting up and moving around. Like I feel like she's improving. Exactly. So I guess we'll see
for sure.
Soon enough. Hopefully soon enough.
Yes. So my next one is Till. I thought it was interesting that Roche and Leighton tell her to take a day off because she's kind of losing it, and then she goes to that bar and she's talking to Osweiler. And this is is this the first time we've seen Osweiler this season?
I feel like he's been around, but I feel like it's the first time. The communication. We saw him a couple times. In this episode.
But I didn't recognize him because I didn't rewatch season 1. So I didn't know who he was until she said his name. And I went, oh, that's the other guy. Yeah. He used to be with Hospitality or with Till. And she was a
brakeman,
she was with Roche. A brakeman. Right. She was a brakeman. And he was the one that was getting,
He's the one always getting in trouble, usually. He was always getting in trouble.
Yes, he was trading sexual favors for stuff with the tailies to get them stuff. So.
And he now has that relationship with Lila Folger Jr., who is
crazy.
Yes, I think that's a great adjective to describe her. She is off the rails.
But it's almost the conversation they have at the bar it's almost like he's an informant for her because she's kind of like, keep your head up and so I kind of wondered, is he maybe still kind of a brakeman or is she just using him because he's part of the janitor squad?
Because they have that relationship from last season, I feel like she really cares about him. So I think she still has that connection because of their past together. So I think she's just she's mostly relying on that. It's just weird to see him, go from being a brakeman to being in the janitor service. And same thing with LJ. It's like, what? This is just strange. So strange.
Exactly. I love the pastor kind of pulls her out of there and he has an interesting counseling kind of method for her. I guess he kind of tailors his counseling session to what you need.
I know.
Takes her for a boxing match. And I love one of the things I realized, and it was in the second, and as I'm talking about it, I realized that a lot of these scenes played out across the entire episode. Like we got little bits and pieces of each scene as the episode progressed. So the episode itself, now that I think about it, may have only like on the trains may have only actually covered like an hour.
Yeah.
If you think about it, not a lot of time has passed in this episode. No. And so I'm just realizing that now, because, you know, it's towards the end when the pastor, when they're having that conversation, he does that quote from Jeremiah, which, by the way, is spot on. That verse is exactly how he quoted it. And it's all about the shepherds misguiding the flock. And so obviously he's kind of implying that Leighton is kind of misguiding with this sanctioning of Pike going to kill Terrence.
But did he know? Did he know that Pike went to kill Terrence?
I don't know if he knew, but he obviously can see that Leighton is slowly. I don't know what the term is that I can think of to explain it. I think he can see what's happening with Leighton. He can see that Leighton is compromising
himself. He is. I feel things. I feel like that's true.
And I don't know how he's getting that information, if it's just through observation or if he's, you know, because he is the pastor. So maybe there's more people than just Till talking to him.
Yeah, he is.
So
he makes me nervous. We don't know enough about him for me to trust him. And I have a feeling he could be involved in the Wilford stuff.
That's interesting.
That's what makes me nervous because I feel like he's a wild card in a train full of wild cards.
And that would be an interesting foreshadowing if it does turn out to that he's the one that's kind of a Wilf more, because then the quote would apply to him as well. Being a poor shepherd.
Yeah, and I worried about Leighton keeping Till at arm's length. It's nothing against Till. I think Leighton is he's having a lot of struggles, and we can talk about that. That's one of my points coming up.
Okay. All right. Well, let's go to your next point.
My next point is the Big Alice Book Club that no one wants to be a part of. And you know the funny thing, Steve? It made me think of the book club that we're doing as part of our friend group. And I'm just thinking, I'm so glad that book club is not going to be like this one. Because I wouldn't want to do it. It's the attendees look so uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And Wilford, oh my gosh. These comparisons of Wilford, Snowpiercer, and the book. And I just started wondering, and this is some of the stuff that I kind of got. I jotted down just a few things I was thinking. And the first one, we know that Sean Bean is killing it as this complex and sinister sociopath villain that we're seeing.
Right.
But he connects with Rebecca in the novel. And I went and did some digging. I have not read that novel, so I went and did some digging about it.
Oh, good. Because I did a very, very light looking at it. So if you dug deeper, that's good.
Well, the main thing is Rebecca in the novel, she is this cruel, selfish, and a bit of a sociopath herself.
Oh.
And the man that the husband in the story, who has gone on to marry another wife because he killed his first wife. And then at the end, his house is burning to the ground. Okay.
So Rebecca, the title character, is not the wife.
No, Rebecca is the dead wife.
Okay.
Yes.
Now that makes sense.
And if you remember, Alex, I think it was Alex who pointed out, he killed his first wife and his house burns to the ground.
Yes. Yeah, because
so what I'm trying to figure out is, who is who in this book? Because I feel like he's connected to that book. He likes that book. Probably because Rebecca herself was like him. So I'm wondering if he sees himself as Rebecca, if he sees himself as the husband, and whatever role he's thinking of himself, is Audrey his narrator, who is the woman that he marries, if he's playing the part of the husband? Is Melanie Rebecca? I don't think so. And his big Alistair Snowpiercer, his, quote, Manderley, which is his big, massive mansion that was in the book.
Okay.
So I feel like there's a lot there. And so I need to stew on this a little bit more. Because I feel like it's very likely that none of this means anything. However, given what happened with the Breachman in this episode, I'm not discounting anything anymore.
Yeah, at this point, who knows? Who knows what could be the? Yeah, that's interesting to see if there's parallels between these characters in the book and in the show. We'll have to see. I think we'll have to see if they carry on, if they talk anymore about the Rebecca book.
I think we need to find out
or not.
If Icy Bob was reading that book too.
Like I said, it looked to me, it really looked, because it looked like it was the same. It looked the same.
I am going to, you know what, Steve, and I'm going to cut this out when I send it to Mark. I'm actually going to look it up. Was Icy Bob reading Rebecca? See what it says. Oh, no, it doesn't even say.
Well, you can't.
Yeah. What book was Icy Bob reading? Let's see.
See if that gives you.
It's Wilfred Plot. Ooh, no, I don't want to see that. I don't want to see someone else's theories. Like, I like to come up with my own. Oh, there you go. What book was Icy Bob reading? Yeah, I'm not really sure.
It looked the cover to me the second time looking at it. I didn't pause it or anything. Right. So it looked like it was the same book, but it might not have been. So that'll be interesting to see. I guess the big thing we'll have to just is see if it's referenced again.
Yeah.
If it's not referenced again, if it's never referenced again, then it was just a scene to kind of show us the fear that people have of letting him down. Because you definitely, when the one guy started to give a different opinion.
Oh, he didn't like that.
He didn't like that at all. Yeah, no. He's like, this is a classic of British literature, or whatever. So.
He didn't like that at all. That really bothered him. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, I'm not sure. Okay. I'm just really,
interesting.
It's going to be,
All right. So that brings us to my number 2.
All right. Yes, you're number 2.
I think so. Okay. So my number 2 is Ruth. And I think Allison Wright may just become a common staple on in my points every week, because I just love what she's doing with this character. I love the emotion that we get to see on her face, and every line that she delivers is just perfect to me. And you can see that she doesn't want to lie, but she knows she has to in order to keep hope alive. And it just, it was so good that just the subtle things she brings to this character just amaze me every week. The more and more we dig into it, we get to see more and more of her. And I just love that whole speech she gives, that short monologue about Melanie's message. Like, she could have just come on and said, we sent the balloon up. She could have done the same thing that Ben did with Wilford. We sent the balloon up. We got the ping.
Mm-hmm.
Could have been done. But she knew that in order to inspire and keep the people hoping and keep their faith, she had to have this very flowery kind of speech. And, the children are making this banner for Melanie, and they're all so excited and they're looking up to her as a hero. And so she really wanted to keep that going. And I'm just now realizing that what she's doing is very similar to what Melanie was doing in the first season, by pretending to be Mr. Wilford. Now, in a way, she's not pretending to be Melanie, but she's pretending that she's hearing from Melanie and that she's getting all this, that Melanie is out there conveying all this stuff to them.
Yes, I agree. I agree with that. I think that Ruth is kind of a wild card, and not in the same way as I talked about other wild cards. I'm thinking more along the lines of, I think that she has more power than she thinks, and I think that she can influence. She has a lot of influence.
Yeah.
And I'm really looking forward to seeing how she's able to use that influence. Because right now she seems to be fighting this battle with Leighton. This silent battle where she's just trying to get him to pay attention. Not pay attention. She's trying to get him to let her in.
Yes, to trust her. Because she that's what she said. Was it last episode or was it this episode? She said that to Zara, that she said, I trust him, but he doesn't trust me yet.
Yes.
And so maybe her doing this will inspire him to put his trust in her. You know, so maybe that's part of what she's trying to do.
I hope so. I hope that they can learn to trust each other, because I feel like when you go up against Wilford, and I think I said this last week, when you go up against Wilford, you've got to have all your parts and pieces together. You've got to do it as a unit. You can't be split.
Right. Exactly.
And now I feel like there's a lot of splits happening on Snowpiercer. There's a lot of mistrust and a lot of stress. And
now we've got to kind of bring it back together. So these next episodes will bring us back.
I hope so. I'm excited.
Hope so. All right. So what is your top one?
My top one is, and we've talked about this a little bit, Leighton's struggle with leadership. Because I think when he was being the detective last season, I feel like that was his role. Kind of like this public servant. Not in this leadership role like Melanie, but more of the people's person. Like, I feel like he was the person that was more representative of the people. Not necessarily like a leader.
He was, I would say, like, to use a baseball metaphor, and I'm not normally a baseball sports guy, last season he was at the plate. He was the batter. He was driving a lot of the story, and he had his own individual achievement to make.
Yeah. Of
solving this crime. Now he's not on the sideline necessarily. He's not necessarily a coach. Maybe he's a catcher, kind of trying to direct what's going on, but that's not the right role for him. And he realizes that it's not the right role.
Yeah, agreed. And he's struggling with it, you know? I think he's really struggling with how to move forward, because without Melanie, he doesn't have a leader to talk with, a real leader, and to advise him during this. And I feel like Melanie did advise him. And
Melanie would have been great to still be at his side.
And I feel like that there is a lot of pressure on him. He's got to balance all of these things. He's got the tail he's expecting for there to be some sort of comeuppance at some point for Melanie, I think. Because of Josie.
Right.
He's got that he has to weigh out. He's got the first class passengers expecting to continue their lap of luxury life. But they're not real happy with Leighton as a leader. And then you've got the second and third class passengers. Well, third class is a mess with Terrence. Which we'll talk about in a second, because that's part of my Leighton struggle with leadership.
Yes. Yeah.
So I feel like...
and now there's going to be a vacuum. There's going to be a vacuum there now as well.
Yeah. So
he's going to step up.
Zara actually put the bug in his ear when he found out that Terrence realized that Josie was the one sending the messages. He's the one, Zara said to him, you need to figure out how to do this. This needs to get done because it's putting everything at risk. She
knew that Terrence needed to be killed.
Yeah.
Right. Like that was her first instinct, was she knew. And so she put that into his ear and she said, and you've got the person to do it.
Yeah.
You just got to sanction it. You don't have to order it.
Yeah.
Just sanction it, so.
And that was a hard conversation for him to have with Pike, because Pike, I think, is trying to be a better person in some ways. And I feel like, when he went in to kill Terrence, he gives him a knife because he wants it to be fair, because he has to live with this after he does it. And we also learn a little nugget in that conversation, which was that Leighton saved Pike's life because they wanted to kill him when he was a cannibal, which that ties back to, if you think about the movie, that happened in the movie with the cannibals and babies.
Right.
And, all strange
I hadn't thought
stuff
about that until he brought it up, because I don't remember if there was something specific last season or if it was prior. So it must have been prior to last season.
Yeah.
Pike must have been part of the group, because remember, they killed the leader of the cannibal group and ate his heart.
Yeah.
But so Pike must have been part of that group.
Yes.
Just he wasn't the leader of that group. So that's an interesting take on Pike's character. And then, the method with what he did there, and I couldn't get it. Watching it both times, I was trying to figure out. So Terrence splashes him with the tea or whatever was in that glass, and then grabs the knife, or did he grab the knife or did he not grab the knife? Because it seemed like
he was slashing at him.
Okay, so he was trying to attack him.
He was trying to attack him with a knife, but in the end, Pike filled him full of something.
Yeah, whatever was in that gun, and I couldn't figure out if that was some sort of caulking gun or clean. I don't know. I couldn't figure out what that was anytime I watched it. So I may have to watch the episode again and try to figure out that fight, because it was a little confusing that Pike went to that method.
Yeah, I found that a little strange. But you know what? He may just have had to use what he had at his disposal.
Yeah, he may have dropped his knife when Terrence was slashing at him. I don't know. And so it's going to be interesting too to see next episode. Are they going to, how is Till going to respond to this?
Yeah.
Because this is is this a murder investigation? Is Leighton going to just tell her straight up that he sent Pike in there to kill Terrence? Are they going to try to cover it up? What are they going to do?
I don't know if they can address it, because they have got this huge mass murder of the Breachmen now.
Mm-hmm. That's on top of
this.
Yeah.
And Till was already feeling really stressed out about trying to find out who chopped off Light's fingers. So this is going to be a much bigger thing. I feel like it's almost like they've got to get this on. This piece is bigger, and they've got to get it under control now. They really can't afford to wait.
Yeah, so it's going to be interesting next episode to see where they go with it and how they go with it.
Agreed. I'm interested. I'm certainly interested. I'm just not sure where it's going, but I guess we'll see.
So, do you have some more there, or
nope? That was it. So
I'm looking at my notes, because we covered most of what I had to talk about already. We just talked about Pike. That was what I was going to bring up. My number one, we already talked about. That was the attack on the Breachmen. Yep. The only other little note I've got that we really haven't talked about already, and I think you've got some of the music as well, is just that because I got high, every time I heard it, I had the very first time I heard it, literally I watched it in the morning on Tuesday morning, and literally that song was stuck in my head all day. Like all day Tuesday, all I had was because I got high. I was gonna get up and clean the room, but I was high.
That is an earworm. That just gets in there, and it gets in there.
And there's some suggestive lyrics in that if you listen to the explicit version.
Absolutely. Lena Hall actually has 4 songs. She actually did sing 4 of the songs that were included in this week's episode. I think there were a total of 9 that were included, including House of the Rising Sun, which was...
Oh, that was her. So she was the one singing that at the end. That was her.
During that montage of all the killing with all the killing of the Breachmen.
Wow, she can get low.
She can.
That's pretty good for a girl or woman to be able to get low like that. And because I thought it was a guy.
Well, according to the website I went to, it was a TV music website. It was her. Okay,
no, I'm not saying it couldn't have been her. I'm just saying when I first heard it, I really thought it was a guy cover of it. So, but now hearing that it was her, she's even better singer than I thought.
She's really great.
So.
I like her. I feel like she's killing it this season. I guess that's my common adjective for people, because I just said earlier that Sean Bean was killing it as well. So yeah, I really enjoyed that. Too, Steve, we learned that the last Australian actually has a name.
Yes.
Murray.
And I love that you bring this up, because this is one of those things that when I saw Amelia take that first note from Josie in the close, I went, oh, so that did work out, the whole thing with her and the Australian. They have so there's more to than just Josie. There's a whole network over there in Big Alice maybe not a whole network. It's probably like 3 people, but still it was interesting to see that. And I love that little talk with her and Alex, like you said, because we get this impression that I wonder if she has, as much as Wilford, she's helped raise Alex.
I wonder about that, because she's not much. I don't feel like she's much older than Alex either.
So they might be, whereas they're not classmate contemporaries like LJ and Alex were, but they may have more of a sisterly kind of relationship.
That's kind of what I think. I mean, that's what it looks like to me. Like it's a sisterly relationship.
Yeah.
It seems. Yeah, it seems like a sisterly relationship.
Yeah. So are there anything else in your notes there that we haven't discussed already?
No, we've talked about everything. Okay. I feel like we've covered it all.
So let's go into some quotes. Do you want to start?
Sure. So, Icy Bob, one of his great quotes where he's helping Josie figure out how to handle the pain that goes around things, and not just the pain, but the panic. And he says, the trick is to externalize the pain, don't internalize it, or it will paralyze you. So I thought that was really good advice. Who knew?
I like that.
Knew Icy Bob could talk like this?
Just crazy. It blew my mind every time. Even the second time watching it, when I heard his voice start, I went, who is that? Oh yeah, that's Icy Bob.
Yeah.
So my first one is just when they're at the beginning, when Ruth and Zara walk in and she says, Tristan, you are fired from the address service. And he's like, oh, thank God. You can just tell that he's stressed out, did not like doing this addressing this address. So I thought that was kind of cool.
Yeah, he was pretty happy to be fired.
Yes.
For sure. My second one is when Till meets Pastor Logan and they go back to his place. She seemed a little surprised that she saw him in the bar, and he said, I just met you in a bar. I go where I'm least expected.
I like that.
I liked that too.
It's a good line for a pastor. Yeah. My second one it's Alex talking to Miss Audrey, and she says, he tortures us with your albums all day. Are all those songs really about him? And I think she says something like most of them or something like that.
Yeah, for sure. Then the next one I have is Terrence and Pike.
Oh, yeah.
And Pike goes in with the knife to give it to Terrence and wants it to be a fair fight. Terrence says, you come here to kill me and you want it to be fair. And Pike says, it's a tail thing.
I like that. I liked that. The second, I didn't realize it the first time, but the second time I watched it, I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. It's a tail thing. And we're getting a lot of that, I realized in this episode too, even with Leighton, or this season really, where Leighton's had to remind them that he's still a tailie. He's not, just because he's leading the train, he still considers himself a tailie.
Yes.
So, let's see. My last one is I loved, again, it's a line from Ruth, and I just, it touched me when the way she said it and the way she delivered it was so perfect when she said, even I've done things in teal that I'm ashamed of.
Yeah.
And I didn't realize that color was teal.
It is. I think it's more of a turquoise, actually. But
well,
yeah, we all look at things differently, I guess.
Exactly. So we did get some feedback this week from our Facebook page.
Wonderful.
This is from Teresa. Thank you so much, Teresa. She says, I'm finally caught up. Holy shit, I'm loving this season. It's more intense than last season. I love the movie and I love this series. I hate the way they end the episodes like in the middle of a crazy action deepness. It's like turning to another page in a book and no more pages. LOL. They better not do it on the last episode of the season. I will be really mad, but damn, this last episode 5 was cutthroat. And I put pun intended or not. And she follows it up with she loved it.
Oh, good. I feel like, you know, I talked about it a couple episodes ago. With the second season of a show, makes me nervous that there's going to be like that sophomore slump where the second season is not as good as the first. But I feel like this one is still really chugging along, and I like it. So I'm excited to see what happens.
I'm excited to see, and I'm excited to see where it goes from here. And I'm excited that we know that there's a third season coming someday.
I know.
You know, I'm confident that they're going to end this one really, really well. So
me too. I'm excited.
All right. anything else from this episode that you have to add?
No, I think everything. I think we talked about everything. The only other thing I can think of is when Miss Audrey was walking from the night car to go through the tail section to go to Big Alice, everyone was just in awe of her, and I just thought that was a really cool shot visually of that.
Yeah.
Of that.
I'm going to start trying to pay attention to the way they're shooting it, because it feels like they're putting some sort of filter on the lens or some sort of filter on it digitally that's softening everything. Or even on Big Alice, it feels like there's softer colors going on. So I'm going to pay attention to that.
It's such a contrast, though, if you think the train is just the silver gray and outside is white with the ice and the snow. And then the inside, you see Wilford's car is all these robust, beautiful colors. And then you see the teal uniforms that are so, like, they stand out so much against everything, you know, closer, especially up front, where it's all white and very sterile looking. It pops, I guess. Yeah.
I have one podcast recommendation. I listened to Michael Rosenbaum's Inside of You. Michael Rosenbaum, if you don't know, he was on Smallville. He's been in a lot of TV shows, and he does a podcast called Inside of You with Michael Rosenbaum. And I love to just go back and I find, sometimes I don't necessarily do the current week. I'll just look at some older interview that he did just to listen to. So if you're interested in that, scroll through and look at all. He's got lots of episodes. I don't know what the final count is, but there was one funny thing that happened this week. He was talking to Katie Cassidy, and at the end of it, he always ends the interview with, "Thank you for letting me be inside of you." And
that's interesting.
You can tell Katie's response was, what did you just say? and he just literally skips right over it and just goes on to finishing out the podcast, because I thought it was hilarious that she didn't realize he was going to say that.
That's kind of comical. I think for me this week, if anyone doesn't listen to Strange Indeed, they had a fantastic interview this week with Brad William Henke, who played Tom Cullen in the Stand miniseries on CBS All Access. And so Rima and Ben, it was just such a wonderful, I think it was 30 minutes of some candid discussion, and I enjoyed it a lot. And so I think people should check it out.
It was really good, and I'll give credit to Rima. She did a lot better with her first celebrity interview than I did. I was a complete moron when Mark and I talked to the comic book men.
No, wasn't that bad, Steve?
Thank you. I haven't listened to it because I knew I appreciate somebody saying it wasn't that bad.
You know,
but man,
I make it a habit, Steve. I don't ever. I edit Run for Your Lives, and I never listen to it after. Like, I just don't.
At the beginning, for a long time, I listened to Mark and I's because I wanted to get better at it. So I would listen to myself and hear not just the way I talk, because I stutter. We all do that. But I mean, just as far as trying to not step over people and not interrupt and that kind of stuff. I don't as much now because I feel like I've learned, but I need to continue that, because that's how you get better, is you listen and you hear where you kind of mess up, or where you think you mess up. I mean, obviously is what it is. It's a conversation. That's all we're having.
I think
but yeah, no.
Yeah, for me, I think when I first started podcasting, I watched the video because I record on Zoom. And it helped me. I figured out what I was doing because I kept hearing this little noise. I'm like, what is that noise? And I figured out by watching the video what I was doing. And that was really neat. And I you're right. I think that listening does help. Does help you get better.
Well, and you're editing, you're listening to it as you're editing it. And I know Mark one time told me that he edits me better than he edits himself. So
yeah.
And I appreciate everything Mark does to edit, and I appreciate what you're doing with this podcast as well. I really, really love doing it with you, and
thanks.
Can't wait to continue the rest of this
It's
season.
It's going to be fun. I'm really excited to see where this all takes us. I feel like we're on Snowpiercer ourselves, just trying to fit. We've got like this.
Last week I felt like it.
I feel like we have a front row seat, and we're just we don't get to participate in the show, but we're just kind of watching and listening and trying to piece it together. So,
well, if you would like to send us some feedback, as Teresa did, and we appreciate Teresa's feedback, you can send that to our email address, which is panelstopixels1@gmail.com. That's panelstopixels1, the TO spelled out right in the middle, and the number 1 @gmail.com. You can also do as Teresa did and go to our Facebook page. I will try to be better about putting up a post for feedback on there, but that is facebook.com/panelstopixels. You can check out our YouTube page. You can leave us a comment there. There's many ways you can interact with us. We don't have a Twitter or Instagram yet. But check us out on those different podcast players. Give us a review if you could. Next week, we're going to continue our coverage, obviously, with episode 6. And that one will be just a few days away. We're recording this on Thursday night, and it'll be Monday.
I know.
We'll be here before you know it.
Excited.
All right. Well, other than that, how else can our listeners hear you, Daphne? I think you already mentioned it, but
you can hear me on Run for Your Lives. Paige and I have celebrated 25 episodes, and I think the episode that will be out when this is online will be The Faculty, and it's actually episode number 27. Got some great feedback for that already. I'm looking forward to releasing that episode, and we've got some great fun ones coming up as well.
I'm excited. I sent you a feedback for The Faculty, and I'm excited to hear what I said because I don't remember. And I'm excited to hear you guys talk about The Faculty because I like it, and watching it twice in just a couple of months, I appreciate it even more. So it's really
one of
good.
Those fun ones. It's a fun.
Yes.
It's got a little bit of humor and a little bit of sass, I think. So I really like it.
And one of the few movie roles for Jon Stewart.
Yes. I forgot he was in it.
Well. Well, again, thank you everyone for listening. I'm Steve.
And I'm Daphne.
And this was Panels to Pixels, and we will see you on the next panel. Good night.
Good night.